Hey gang, Anthony Fontana here, live after 5. It's actually after 7 something. It's been that kind of a day. I've been running since around 6 a.m. Hope everyone's doing having a great day today, or had a great day today. A lot going on. It's been hectic and a lot of fun. So just a really very quick video, and I'm going to bring you back in time a little bit, because if you want to know an infallible way to succeed is pay attention to someone that's trying to teach you what they did. I have a phrase: you want to walk through a minefield, follow someone. Yeah, follow someone. If you're going to walk through a minefield, follow someone that's already gone ahead of you. Well, I've already gone ahead of you, and millions of others similar to me have gone ahead of you in terms of where we are. So we've gone down a certain path. If you follow the path that we walk down, you can have success based on what we did. If you just kind of duplicate our activities. Now, you can't have my life. It is not possible. No one can have the life that I've had, because I've had X amount of experiences for many decades doing what I do. But every single event in my life that was a negative experience when it was happening turned out to be a blessing in disguise. So Bob Proctor, like one of my #1 mentors in life ever. I mean, this guy has been, from the early 80s, somebody that I just looked up to, just an amazing guy, and he had passed away a while back. Just an incredible guy. But he had so much advice. But what he said in a book that I read many years ago changed the direction of my life. One book changed the direction of at 16 years old. He and I have very similar stories in terms of how we were influenced to move away from the mindset that we had into something successful in terms of a mindset. And what happened was, I was walking to my buddy Tom's house. We lived in Brooklyn, and I think it was 1973 or 1974. Tom and his brother had just moved into our area, down the block from us, another street, but right down the block, and we became great friends, and they were my buddies. Tom and I are still friends today. We spent time together. He designed MJ's rings. He's an amazing guy, and he's basically a commercial jeweler now. He does big stuff for big companies, mass production designs, and he's just amazing. Anyway, so as I'm walking to his house, there was a garbage pail 2 doors away from my house with a whole bunch of books on it. I love books. My mom and dad didn't like me bringing all this crap home, but I basically stopped, grabbed this pile of books, started looking through it. The very first book on top was it was a yellowed, worn out thing, and it said Think and Grow Rich. The rest of the books were all textbooks, high school textbooks. I didn't want those, certainly. So I took the book and I brought it back to my house, which was just a couple of doors away. Put it in my bedroom and left. Went to Tommy's, played, hang out, and do the thing, bike ride, whatever we did as kids. Well, I read that book cover to cover that weekend. I remember this distinctly because a few days after I read the book, I was with a high school friend, my old and dear friend Howie, who had passed away a couple of years back. We went to high school together. We were track mates together. We were best friends back in those days. Literally, if I wasn't with Tommy and Frank in Bensonhurst, I was in Bay Ridge with Howie. We were running around, just doing our thing, living life, having a great time. He was my bass player in one of my very first bands that I ever played drums in. He was an amazing guy. Anyway, when I said, How, I got to tell you, I read a book today. And he said, well, what did you read? I'm like, a book called Think and Grow Rich. It was like, it's really old. It was like kind of worn out and from the 30s, and it was sitting on a pile of garbage, and I just took it. He says, well, what did it say? I said, here I was 16. I said, the book said, all I have to do is think about money and the money will come to me. He says, what the heck does that mean, Fontana? I'm like, it means that I'm going to think I want to be a millionaire. I'm going to be a millionaire. I am literally seeing $1 million in my mind right now. That's what I said to him. He laughed. He said, are you smoking? What are you smoking? Like he was teasing me, busting my chops about it. Going forward, basically, he looked up to me with everything that I was accomplishing as we grew up, and he never had the success I had because he didn't have the mindset that I had. Unfortunately, he died, suddenly a couple of years back, and this is a great guy, my best friend. I loved him. But I remember saying those words to him, and I remember rereading that book. Right now I have like 7 or 8 copies of Think and Grow Rich. That book is the best advice I can give you today. If you've never heard of it, many have not. If you've never read it, if you have heard of it, go to Amazon.com right now. Click on Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. There's so many inexpensive versions of it, $1, $2. You can never buy the one that I have because it's like almost a first edition. It's old. I have multiple copies of it. I used to buy new copies of it by the case and give them out to people. Like there was a place I used to visit and buy cases of books, and I buy a case of these books, like 24 books in a box, and I would hand them out to people. It's that good a book, right? So if someone can't afford to even buy the book, let me know, and I will buy you the book and have it shipped to you. That's how important I think this talk tonight is. Think and Grow Rich changed my life. It's helped me through so many things over the past, 44 years of my life, 45 years. It helped me become the person I am today in terms of business and my acumen and how I'm able to relate to people, because it taught me that I had to change my mindset. Hi, Joan, sweetheart. How are you, buddy? I know you got a lot going on down there. We miss you guys, and we're praying for you. Hi, Lourdes. Basically, in a nutshell, if you want a textbook for success, if this is the grandfather of the best textbooks you could ever read, it's about 230-something pages. Every page is filled with data. Some people say it's old school. Some people say it's useless. But Napoleon Hill wrote the book. And Napoleon Hill mentored Bob Proctor. Napoleon Hill was mentored by none other than Andrew Carnegie. Like today, Andrew would be a multi-billionaire. The steel magnate. The guy that helped J.P. Morgan form U.S. Steel. I mean, we're talking, these are the big boys of the past, of the late century 1800s and early 1900s. These guys changed the world that we live in right now as industrialists. J.P. Morgan as a banker, Andrew Carnegie as a steel magnate. These guys were amazing. I follow their histories, and I love how they did what they did. Not everything that they did was like the way we do things today, but they didn't have the same oversight and regulations that we have today, but they got things done. And as a result, tens of millions of people, hundreds of millions of people benefit from what they did that many years ago, 100, 150 years ago. It's amazing if you think about it. Think and Grow Rich. Buy the book. If you can't buy the book, inbox me and I'll buy a gosh darn book and I'll send it to you, because you need to know what other people have done to walk through this minefield that we call life. And I've walked through many minefields in my day, and I still read that book. I have the original copy. That's the one I read right now. It's actually in my briefcase. I carry it with me pretty much everywhere I go. When we travel, I will read several pages out of that book. It's kind of delicate now. It's dry. It's brittle. I don't want to damage it, but it's my go-to book. That book led to hundreds, probably thousands of other books that I've read over the years that are directly related to mindset, changing one's mind, getting over and overcoming and becoming a different human being. You don't like the path you're on? Go find somebody that you can follow through that minefield. I love you guys. Have a great night, and we'll speak to you guys later. God bless.